Hello, I'm in a funny place, the coolest room in the house, because upstairs is not going to work for me today. So it's lovely to see you from, let's call it the cellar. I hope you are doing all right in this nonsense climate that we find ourselves in. Got quite a lot to cover today because last week it was the big exciting 50th blah, 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 which we had a good time talking about. So we went a little bit off piste, didn't we? And we looked at what even is one version of the truth. What do you mean by that? So that was quite good fun. But it means that I haven't really talked for a couple of weeks now about, stuff that we're doing, the change, the reach, the depth, the expertise, and so on and so forth. So let me get my lovely slides up. Back to normal. See? Me in the corner, slides on the page. Everything's great. So what are we going to cover today? Well, we're back to looking at all these things that we have covered for now 51 weeks or whatever. And I'll just dive straight in because we'll get to the bits that we're going to cover. When I was doing the one version of the truth thing, it was an opportunity for me to think, well, I hope people know that these are the things that we offer. And it was funny, I had 3 or maybe 4 sales calls in the last week. Sales calls, I mean, you can imagine how good I am at sales. It's mainly me giving all of the reasons why you might not want to sign up to Consonance, because I'll be the right fit for you. So sales is a very generous descriptor of how I approach these things. But on each of them, I was reminded that just because something is in my head and just because I think about it all the time, it doesn't mean that magically everybody knows what it is that Consonance is. So last week we looked at what one version of the truth really means. Here's a slide just to give a very simple, no fuss summary of the scope of Consonance and the scope of what one version of the truth means for us. Because, I was on the phone to people and they said, oh my God, you do royalties as well. You do like Onyx messages. And I'm like, yes, absolutely. That one version of the truth is a handy, pithy phrase, but I think sometimes it might dull the thrill of knowing all of these things that we do in detail. So here's a page. You can look at it. It's a little bit like the summary page, the main nav at the top of Consonance, isn't it? All of the things that you can do with different data, but it's all in one app and it all relates to itself. And so you get to exist in this happy place where you can jump around, your universe, making sense of things. So I won't go on about it, but that's a pretty thing there. And you can tell actually that I'm thinking of putting a new floor in the bathroom, can't you? Because my subconscious has gone to, these diamonds are a bit squashed, but yeah, nice checker pattern, I thought. Lovely, simple, classic. We'll see. I'll show you the photos if I can be bothered to relay a floor in a bathroom in this economy. Anyway, right, on to some things. In the reach department this week, a couple of clients asked for some changes to the to-dos page, and they're really good ideas, and it's nothing dramatic or fancy, but I hope that you will enjoy them. Now, they're not live yet. They might be live actually. Dave was doing a push to production earlier on, but we'll have a look in my local Do-Jimmy Flip so that we can see what we're talking about. On this page, you can see that there's something that approximates subgroups. Now, last time we looked at this page, this month grouping of what month this to-do was in was actually like a column entry. So it said done, and then there was a column And that was where it said March, 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 September, September, October, October, October. So now we've got these subgroupings. I mean, it's so daft to even tell you about this and make a fuss of it because it's a really small change, but it might help with that sort of scanning a page at once and saying, oh my word, we've got a lot going on in October. We've got nothing going on in March. Yeah, groupings. Is that fine? The other thing was that, which a very kind client mentioned, was that when we have roles and people assigned to to-dos, they came with their avatar. Now, some of our clients make amazing use of avatars to at a glance, you know, if we're looking at a sort of red icon or something, then they can see, okay, that's all editorial. And the green one is all production. So it's a way for them to kind of just personalise the interface in a way that makes sense to their team. But when those avatars haven't been uploaded by a client, then Consonance falls back to a little sort of generic icon of a person or an organisation. And when you've got a really large number of to-dos and a really large number of assignees on those to-dos, gets a bit much. So we've changed it so that if you haven't sort of opted into this feature of using avatars as useful information, then you don't see them, and you'll only see them if you do, if that makes sense. So that's all well and good. What was the other thing? Oh yeah, crossing out. So now the name of the to-do is a little bit heavier. You can see that this is a little bit heavier. This, fingers, come on. Editorial center typesetter, a bit heavier than this. And we had a little mini tiny bug where things weren't being crossed out in quite the same way. So now they get crossed out, in a pleasing fashion. So that's everything on that page. The other thing, whilst we were at it, another client said, oh, love the such and such, can we have a copy to clipboard button on it? So let me tell you what the such and such is to which I refer. Let's go to Data Studio. Let's go to any old search that we've got there. This is a page that has it. Let me find some things. So on this is a calendar view, which we've talked about before, very lovely, of all of our to-dos at this particular level. If I click, I can drill down. So I click, I drill down, and it's now here where the copy to clipboard button is. So, copy that to clipboard and go and do something else with it. Very nice. Close that. There's another page where, one version of the truth, same information on a different page. Let's go and look at it. The page I'm thinking about is Project Stages Board. So let's have a look at that. And if we click on one of these, we can see that there's to-dos just for this one particular work. Copy to clipboard. Lovely. And I think also on this, we're now, so if you're the client who asked for this, here it is. We're ordering the to-do due dates in order due date ascending. It was I think it was ordered by the name previously, which was a bit unusual. So yes, so that's all lovely. I think those are the only places where those new copy to clipboards are. There might be another one. Can't remember. But enough. That's really, really lovely of people to have taken the time to get in touch and hopefully just, little delicate improvements here, there and everywhere. Shouldn't cause any kind of regressions for anyone else's workflow, but that's the new way of looking at that. So enjoy and thanks, and keep the great ideas coming. Iterate, 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 as no one has said ever. What's next? Speed. You might not notice this. I thought I'd just throw it in anyway, because the team have worked tirelessly to upgrade us to a new way of loading JavaScript into our application. It's going to make an already very fast app a bit faster. It means that we're on, updated ways of maintaining our code. It's tested, it's supported. It's a good place to be. I haven't got anything to show you. It's just a thing to say it's as fast and faster as it's ever been. There's less load, so less code has to be loaded into your browser as you move through pages. If you're interested, it's Vite that we've upgraded to from Webpacker on the Rails app environment. So ask us more technical questions if you like, but possibly imperceptible speed benefits to you. Certainly faster for us though. And we're people in our own rights. So as developers, it's making our lives happier and better. So that's all good. So that's the speed section for this week. What's next? Right, bit of a dense slide this one, isn't it? I've filled the last few weeks with one version of the Truth Talk, and then before that, the new document template talk. So the previous two live streams were all to do with that. And there were a few bits and bobs that I would normally have mentioned, and I haven't. So you're getting a job lot of all of them. And forgive me for not doing a proper slide, but I just wanted to capture the list and then I can talk through it. So the first block here, these are new filters that have gone into data search. So a few new contribution type filters, which let you see roles and let you see when they've been changed. And just today, actually, yes, again, if you know who you are, you know who you are. But a kind client said, how do we search for people who are fulfilling a role, but not necessarily on a to-do? So now there is a way to search for role fulfillments by users or contacts. Might not be live yet, will be live imminently, but that's a nice one. Possibly even an oversight. So you might enjoy using that one if that's been missed previously. So there's the filters on Data Studio. The next two are to do with displays on Data Studio. So you filter, those are the fields at the top, and then you display the results of your filtered data in whichever way you want. So we've added identifiers to the work contributions display. And we've also tweaked the Lightning Source Spreadsheet of Doom displays. So that one now shows the X tax or ink tax price for the euro. If you want it, you'll see it and you'll like it. And if this is meaningless to you, then don't trouble yourself. It's all good. Next, a couple of little tiny things, but keeps everything flowing. And this was a kind client who said, is things meant to be in a different order on two different pages? I'm like, no. Let me show you what I'm talking about here. When you go to the metadata page for any reason, you will see that the products of the work are listed in each of the regions where it's relevant. So we've got a B format paperback, an HTML and a PDF product here. And previously, if you were to then go to the insights page, the overview page, they might not have been in the same order. And now they are. So it's just one of those absolutely minuscule yet important pieces of work where we've just made sure that every little last rough edge we're smoothing away, making sure that you just don't notice. This is what we want. We want you to not notice that there might be, you might be on a different page or something. It's just that, nice, making the day just a slight bit easier. So that's that. We've also added FSC to the metadata page thesaurus. So the metadata page thesaurus is what we call the thing where up here you might want to, type FSC, and now that will bring you to the region where you would expect to put stuff to do with FSC wood source. So if we double click there, we'll be able to see that, yeah, we can use the good stuff there. But you see that there's no actual, it doesn't actually say FSC in this region anywhere. So it's not like whatever you type in here is only sort of matching the actual words that you see on the page. We have this thesaurus because we're trying to kind of catch, you know, if you're trying to filter the page, in your head you're like, so, you know, price, I expect to go to price. Or if I type in GBP, I expect to go to price. So if there are any words that you've typed in and you think, why didn't that match the thing? I'm going to have to use my human fingers and scroll. Oh, if there's any words that you want us to add into the thesaurus, give us a shout. Very straightforward and easy to do. So we added an FSC and that's lovely. And then two more chunks of things that we've done here. Adding in more custom report columns. So we've added in secondary in-house subject codes as separate columns. I think previously you could say, put into one cell on my custom report the in-house subject codes, and I think they were comma separated or semicolon separated or something. Now you can choose them to go one by one into a column, just to make it more likely that that's the format you'll need them in for whatever the purposes of doing this custom report. I mean, it'll be for somebody else's system, won't it? So hopefully that helps a little bit there. We have all sorts of flavours of different roles. You can say, you know, add in the name of the person who adopts the following role on this product. And we've got things like commissioning editor, in-house editor, managing editor, but we didn't have the word editor. So we've added that in. But again, hardly even worth mentioning, but I'm using this as an opportunity to say, if you've identified in your mind any slight rubs and you think, oh, I wish they would just blah, 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 we're all up for that. And we've also added in back cover copy to the custom report. You know, we've got like pretty much every other type of marketing text: main description, short description, reviews with pull quotes, with reviews without the name of the reviewer in, blah, blah, blah. We didn't have back cover copy, and now it's there. Bear in mind that all of the data elements that you can choose to go into an Excel custom report can also be used on your PDF exports, your advanced information sheets and catalogues and so forth. So that is like a twofer. The things that we're adding here, you can add on your AIs and or your Excel spreadsheets and so on. And remember, because I've banged on about it for 2 weeks, there's a new additional way to put together advanced information sheets or any sort of document, and that's now using the liquid templating language. So if you need to really kind of level up and have ultimate control over the layout of the documents that you're emitting from Consonance, then let us know. And we'll turn that feature on for you because it's still in, like, I'm going to say beta. It's not even quite at beta stage yet, but it's really getting there. So if you're at all interested in that, you should say, and then we'll turn it on for you, and you can be a first mover, have first mover advantage, which, as I understand it, is what people crave. And then the last thing on the list is rental prices in Coresource to VitalSource. I thought I'd tell you a little story. So I've gone to the bother of doing slides for this one. How exciting. So here's the start of the story. And this is a heavily redacted support ticket that we got in. I'm reliably informed 2 months ago, says my screenshot. And the point of me doing this is threefold. Firstly, to show how we can deliver what customers need at zero additional cost. Secondly, it's to show that the timescales are very realistic. And thirdly, it's to show that, you know, there's depth to our functionality. the danger with saying these like pithy lines, like one version of the truth, is that I think what I've been doing wrong is I've been saying brief things like that, and sometimes it doesn't capture the intensity, the depth of what Consonance can do. It's profoundly malleable. And so this is just one small example of the sorts of things that you can ask us to do, and they will be done within a reasonable time frame at no extra cost, with a certain panache and rigour. So yeah, one of our precious clients wrote in and said VitalSource have asked them to set rental pricing, whatever that means. Fair point. And so on discussion, they thought we need to do it through Consonance, not like directly into Coresource, because of course Consonance is the system of record. Feeds will go into Coresource, will wipe out any manual edits that are done. So Consonance needs to be the system of record emitting these numbers. They're all set up to receive all price codes, all price qualifiers. So by that we mean, multiple currencies and multiple different sorts of prices, like consumer X price, consumer Inc price, library, corporate pricing, that sort of thing. So it should be just a simple matter of setting up the prices and qualifiers on the products themselves. I mean, classic support software development, isn't it? Nothing is ever straightforward, but that's okay. And then we've got some commercial terms. What's the price going to be for these rental prices? So that's all very interesting. So what did we do? We clarified the commercial requirement. We clarified who was going to get these feeds, on what basis. We clarified exactly what the receiving entity wanted, which was Coresource. Liaising with them, not directly, I don't want to say. I want to say in concert with the client, so that we're clear what we're doing. And then we wrote yet another price director. So a price director in Consonance is some code. It's in the code base. You don't see it in the interface. It's a way that we deliver what you tell us you need on support tickets without necessarily you ever having to do anything else ever again. So it's not like in order to do rental pricing or library pricing or corporate pricing, you don't have to go, or Apple agency pricing, you don't have to go into the metadata for every single product and type in a number. No. What you can do instead is say, we want the following logic to be used, and then you need to please write that code. And then every time an Onyx message goes out, run this code dynamically, add these new prices in. You don't see them on the metadata page. Spontaneously create new price records and send them in the following circumstances to the following people. So, if you can articulate the logical rules that you want to have happen in a certain circumstance, we can write that logic and then it just happens. Sometimes this is exactly what you want. Sometimes you do want to change data through the interface. You want the team to be able to see it. You want to be able to put in different publication dates because there's value in every team member being able to see in the interface what the numbers are. So it's horses for courses, isn't it? But sometimes the right thing to do is for us to sort of almost extend our commercial relationship with each other, isn't it? And for you to say, this is kind of bespoke, discrete code that we want you to write for us and want you to manage and run. And thanks, please go and do that. And it's all part of the license fee. So this is not us, rubbing our hands thinking, oh, fantastic, another way to extract money out of our precious clients. This is the service we provide. The exciting intersection of being an off-the-shelf product with off-the-shelf prices and yet tailored to every client in a way that works for us, that doesn't overwhelm us. So yeah, so we have this file. It's called the price director file. It's in our code base. You know, this is what our code looks like. It's text, it's words. There's precious little, you know, beep boop technical squiggles in Consonance. We write in Ruby on Rails. It's the most delightful programming language. You can read it like a poem. I mean, I am going to read you this, I'm afraid, because looking at it, I mean, it's in a computery font, isn't it? So you've probably like zoned out. But it's like a string of messages that all add up. It's like as you walk through this poem, things are changing and being stored. So we start with a copy of the working prices, and we say what prices specifically we're interested in. It's the ones with price type 1 and 2, and it's the price with the Onyx price type qualifier of 05. Now that's the consumer, it's probably the consumer, Inc. and X tax price. I might be completely wrong. I'd have to look that up. But this is code. You don't need to worry about that. Whatever the client asks for, that's what we've done there. We've started with those working prices. And then we're going to change. So the aim of this is not to edit existing prices. It's to store some new prices to send out in the Onyx that is running, you know, when this code is run. So we start with the prices that the client's typed into the system. Let's say it's the GBP X tax consumer price. And then we say, okay, well, create a new price record and change the Onyx price qualifier type to 01. That's probably rental pricing on the code list. Multiply the prices by 0.8. Round it to the currency expectation. Add a rental condition. And this is the price for a full year's rent, and store those prices. And then do the same thing for a rental period of 180 days and store those, a different multiplier. And you're thinking, well, is that how code works? Do you just like type the words round to currency expectation? This is easier than I thought. Why are these people? There's a definition somewhere else in the code base of the complexity behind that kind of label. When we say round to currency expectation, there's code that says mathematically what that means. When we say add rental condition, there's code that says exactly what that means. But we've composed these little chunks of code together so that we can clip them together to make this story, so that we've abstracted to the right sort of level, and we can run and edit and read and maintain this code in the appropriate way. So we did that, and then the other thing I wanted to show you was that you don't just write code, because I mean, if you think about it, when we write code, there's like quite a few of us on the team. We're all writing code all day long, every day of the week. We're pushing changes like this up to our shared code repository. That's a lot of moving parts. And, you know, as customer requests come in for extra help like this, you know, we are changing the code all the time. This is not a finished product. It can't be, because the world is changing and our customers are changing, and their requirements are changing because legislation's changing and the commercial realities are always being updated. So the really important rule is that we must be able to change our code, and we must be able to do it with confidence that it's not going to suddenly break. And when you've got a code base that's like that's as sort of old, I guess, because, you know, we're over 15 years old, as old and as sprawling and as comprehensive and as detailed as Consonance is, we need to have an entire infrastructure of extra code to check that we haven't, with all of our changes, we haven't broken any existing code. Your head as a programmer is not the right place to store information about whether there's code that, you know, might break because of what you've just done. No. we need to delegate that back to the machines. So what I want to show you, and just be super brave, but this is one of the automated tests that we run every single time we change a character of code. Now let me just contextualize this by showing you that. So this is Consonance here, and if I show you here, you know, all of this stuff, app is where most of Consonance lives. This is it. I mean, it goes down a long way. You know, you can expand all of these folders and you'll see an awful lot of code. But app is where the code lives. That's the code that makes the website appear on your browser and does all of the things that it does. But there's almost like the same amount of code again that is the test suite. And this spec file, for instance, this is just one part of it. This is where the logical tests live. We have other sorts of tests, which you call integration tests, which follow the path of users through a number of different pages to check that what their sort of journey is all works. It's not that you just take one snapshot of a page and say, yeah, it's got the number 6 on it, fantastic. No, we also have tests where, you know, I click a button, I select from a drop down, I press the save button, and I expect the page to look like something or other. So there's those sorts of tests. We've got tests where, you know, the advanced information sheets, they produce a PDF. Well, we've got some tests where you run the test, we actually create a new PDF on the fly, we make it transparent, and we overlay it on the original PDF of what we expect to see. And if there's any misalignment of pixels between those two PDFs, the test explodes and fails and says, no, you've changed something. You've changed something, and that's going to change what our customers expect the PDF to contain. And you didn't mean to do that, did you? So go and have another look. So, you know, we can, they remember that old phrase from like the 2000s, move fast and break things. Well, we can move fast and not break things because we've got a really good test suite, you know. So we've got these things like this test adds prices to the Onyx. And so we run this test and it says expect the Onyx, the output of the Onyx writer code, given these parameters, to contain exactly these numbers. So at the point of writing the code, we assert what we want the code to do. We want this to be the output. And then this test exists for all time now, and we run it, and we will run it in 6 months, 12 months, 18 months time. If the client's requirements change, we come back and we change the test and we change the code, and we are able to maintain that happy state. So, you know, to find ourselves after 15, 20 years of running this company, doing this work, we now have a really extensive test suite as well as a really comprehensive application, and it's a happy place to be, I tell you, because we have that confidence from both our automated tests and also our incredibly experienced team who overlay their experience on top of the code to make sure that, you know, the new features that we're delivering are not only great, not only tested themselves, not only answering the needs of the users in this moment, but don't break anything we wrote previously and won't break in the future because they've got their own tests. So it's good. It's good times. So anyway, upshot of all of that was that 8 days ago we got a great news support ticket come in saying that, yeah, that code has changed the client's Onyx message and it's worked. So happy days indeed. So yes, so that was just a little story really to say that if your commercial reality changes, which it does because change is completely inevitable, then this is how we work. Let us know, and chances are we'll be able to help in this sort of manner. And I deliberately left the fairly long timescales on there. I mean, month and a half. It's not like overnight, is it? But it's a real example of how quickly we were able to deliver a fairly complex piece of work. I guess we could have gone quicker, but there's another 100 stories that I didn't show you of all of the other things that we're doing. So, I want to give it to you straight that this is a realistic expectation, a chunky, important change within 6 weeks, delivered accurately and to the extent that Coresource are happy and accept it. So if that's not a win, I don't know what is. So yes, that's it for this week. I think we've covered a fair amount. There's a few other things I want to share with you. It's such a hot day. I feel a bit bad for giving you a scarf update, but I will give you a scarf update because I got some bespoke tags created. Let me put me big on the screen. Got some bespoke laundry labels created such that I can stitch them onto my scarf, which is in the other room. And this is what they look like. They're absolutely awesome. They're so premium and like woven. They're the woven type. Don't know if you can see that. And these are all of the geological eras on my scarf that I'm making. So I'm going to stitch the little bit of the colour as a little blob there. So that acts as like a key. I'll stitch that into the corner of the scarf. And then everyone will be able to see what the colours mean. And I'm so excited because I've only got another 520 million years left to do. Done all of the, great lengthy 3 billion year geological eras that go on forever and ever and ever. We're at the exciting bit now where life has started to explode and mountains start to get built, and it's all a bit thrilling and very colourful indeed. So when it's not too hot to have knitwear about my person, I shall give you a scarf update next week. Next week I can't do Thursday. Events have conspired. So I will do the live stream on Wednesday. You can totally just watch it on Thursday though, can't you? So that's why on this I said see you next week-ish. You might want to join me on a Wednesday, shake it up a bit, see what you're doing. But it's all just YouTube, isn't it? So you can watch it as and when. Let me know any things you want to talk about. Let me know keep doing what you're doing, sending in support tickets. Had a great one earlier. Someone just wrote in saying, I really like using this page. It would be great if we could use it in a slightly different way. Any thoughts? And we're like, yes, thoughts, great. That sounds great. Thanks for the effort in typing in what you need. Anyway, so thoughts and prayers for the weekend weather if you're in the UK and in the south of England, because it looks absolutely perilous. I hope that you manage to do something that is compatible with that heat. If you're in other parts of the world similarly suffering, then my heart goes out to you. And yeah, keep on keeping on and see you next week. Take it easy.